Okay, I think we've got a lot to go through today. And we've got a reasonably large quorum of people that have joined us. So I'm going to go ahead and start. This is a restart, a relaunch of a new series of the GGHK Coffee Talk. And we're incredibly thrilled to have Lisa Lam, our co-chair, with us today, and our special featured guest, Shawn Griffin, who will talk about the Arts and Culture program. And we are incredibly happy to be here to have this opportunity to give everyone an update, because over the past few months, we've had so many questions, and we're actually not resting in place. The entire management team has been so busy to get everything ready. And of course, there's still a lot of work ahead of us, but we have done so much. And I'm just incredibly happy to have both Lisa and Shawn here today to share this update with us. And just a reminder to everybody attending, if you have questions for Lisa or Shawn during their presentations, please feel free to type them into the chat window. We'll leave about 15 to 10 minutes at the end for answering questions. So I'm going to go ahead and pass to Lisa to give us the overall update on the Gay Games. So over to you, Lisa.
Thank you, David. Thanks, everyone. Welcome. Good morning, good evening, wherever you are. So I have just prepared a very short deck, to give you a little bit of an update, and then, so we can actually mostly, use to kind of maybe over in interactive questions. But let me just present it first. Can you all see the deck? Okay. So yeah, welcome again. So the first copy of GGHK for the year. I'm very happy to be here, and just like David was saying, it's just going to be a little bit of overview of what have been happening on the ground here in Hong Kong for everyone in the last 4 or 5 months. So here's our team. Of course, for those of you who may not remember, I may not be aware, GGHK is actually a registered charity. So we run fully by volunteers. We right now have about over 200 volunteers, whether some in Hong Kong, some overseas. But what you see here is really our team of management team, roughly about 15 people. So of course, David, our lovely David, our moderator, our host today, and also Shawn Griffin, who is our Arts and Culture Director. Now, unfortunately, Alan is our other co-chair, and he's also responsible for sports. And unfortunately, he's actually traveling in New Zealand today, and it's a little bit too late for him to join. So, hopefully maybe next time, he can come in and share with you a little bit more about, what he's doing and, what, on the sports side and everything like that. I know. Okay, the next one. So here we go. A little bit about what have been going on, right, since the last few months. Now, of course, you heard about the co-hosting announcement in February, and and the dates of the event obviously have not changed. Both cities are we're still going to host the November Gay Games 11 in November 3rd to 11th, 2023. Now, from the Hong Kong perspective, we are very, very excited to have Guadalajara to co-host with us, because that really means, 2 games as one. And regardless, really, as regardless of the situation, travel arrangements in Hong Kong, we are really ready and to build this, legacy in Hong Kong, to have this first game in Asia, just as the same as first games in Latin America. Very, very excited about that. And right now, last few months, what we really have been doing was we were rebuilding and replanning, our sports program, our arts and culture program, everything. And right now, basically based on the resizing, we are looking at initially, from 36 sports, we're now probably looking at about 20 plus sports, which is a growing list, but basically at the minimum 20, 21, 22. And then, we're looking at probably around 7,000 sports participants and also 25,000 visitors going to our arts and culture, the village, those kind of programming over the next 9 days, during the event in 2023. So, so as you can see here, the program itself is the component is really the same. We have the opening and closing, the sports. What's really been, changing a little bit, in terms of co-host arrangement, is just really tweak a little bit more so that with more sports that are, more popular, in this part of the world, in the region, like dragon boat racing. We added mahjong, trail running, because Hong Kong's beautiful trails really highlight some of the unique features in Hong Kong. And then the arts and culture program, I'll let Shawn talk about it, but my understanding is that basically we have also a broad in the base, a more regional focus to it. And the festival village is also, we're changing it. It's really, from perhaps in the past, maybe more focus of a before and after event for the sports. Is now going to be more like an all-day thing, where people can, families, general public can come in at any time, right? Part of the reason of that is because this is really the first games in Asia, and we really want to make sure we build that legacy and really have more of a, the concept of more, the general public and then, the allies to be able to come in and really enjoy and celebrate with us. That's one of the, also one of the, I guess, the rationale behind, some of the tweaks in the program that we have here in Hong Kong. So here's the sports list. You guys probably have seen it before from the FGG, announcements. And we have developed this sports list basically together with FGG and a lot of the organizations, both locally and internationally. And we really have developed it based on the feasibility and viability for us, to put on these sports events in Hong Kong. So of course, like I was saying, we are continually revising this list. If we have more resources, or the venues permit, we might add more sports. But this is the current list. Now, in terms of the key milestones, you'll see that basically, I think we, in the last few months, what we've really been doing was to do the replanning, right? So we did a lot of the replanning in the last few months, and now we're really ready to go. So later on, I'll share with you a little bit about our Come Out and Play campaign that we're going to be launching in July, right after Pride Month. And then, and as you probably also heard, from the FGG, Guadalajara have signed a license agreement. So we are now, of course, still haven't fixed on a date yet, but we are looking at, when, we will be opening registration together with Guadalajara. Hopefully, within, before the end of Q3. Clearly a lot still have to be done because they only signed the license agreement recently, but we are really hopeful that we can open registration as soon as possible. And then there will be November 1 year countdown. Of course, you all know AGA will be in Guadalajara, but here in Hong Kong, we are also planning our 1 year countdown, and then also looking at how we can, have some, connections with the physical event in Guadalajara. And then I guess what I should bring to attention is that actually next February or March, what we are here in Hong Kong going to do is do a diversity sports conference where we are, of course, also again working very closely with FGG as well as a lot of the regional sports associations, like the Straits Games, to really have a invite a lot of delegates to come to Hong Kong, so that they can actually see, the venues, the location, and really be an opportunity for people to gather together and get ready, for Gay Games 11 in November. So in terms of the marketing outreach, this is what I was going to show you a little bit about the, I guess there's several levels. Of course, one is because this is after all the first game in Asia. So for us, unlike in previous, like in North America and Europe, a lot of people already know the Gay Games, what Gay Games is very well, right? But here in Hong Kong or here in Asia, not a lot of people do. So we actually spend a lot of time to educate and raise awareness of the general public here in Hong Kong and in other parts, of Asia, to share with them what is Gay Games, right? So we have planned a very robust campaign in July. And at the same time, we're also running a lot of satellite events in country, in the region. So for example, we have Pink Dot in Singapore just last month, and the Asian Pride game, which was in Taiwan, in late April. And then, of course, we are also going to be present in the Euro Games and, also World Pride in Sydney next February. So those are some of the events we do. Now, in terms of tailored programs with the key sponsor, I'll also explain later when we when we do go to that. Basically, those are more like a specific program that we co-develop together. Actually, David can explain it a little bit much better than I do later, that we develop together to really amplify the language of the message of diversity and inclusion and the gay games principles behind. So here you see a little bit some of the poster that we have. So Come Out and Play is the theme, for July. We have planned a lot of events with local businesses in Hong Kong where they are running the events, but really, but then promoting a brand of gay games for us. That's that we're very, very fortunate and lucky. There were lots of businesses in Hong Kong very supportive. The Queer Graduation Day is something that we, that was just happened this last Friday. It's the first rainbow graduation day that happened in Hong Kong. It's really for a lot of the trans and younger generations, so that they can actually be their authentic self and really attending a graduation ceremony in front of their families and friends, be their authentic self. It's also an opportunity for us to really connect, with the community and build the awareness about gay games in Hong Kong. And then the Splashing Out, that's the event that is, as you can see, is coming up on July 20th in a few weeks' time. This is our official relaunch in Hong Kong in a way. So it's really an opportunity for us to thank our volunteers and supporters and to really let them know that, hey, even though despite, the, last, 12 months, all the various challenges, COVID, everything, gay games back, and, we are really moving full on, so that's really that event, the significance of the Splashing Out campaign. Basically, we were very fortunate to be able to charter the Water World Park. Basically, is an amusement park, in Hong Kong, where basically is a lot of slides, right? But it's mainly something to do with water, so it's called the Water World Park in Hong Kong. And it's about 3,000, we can host up to 3,000 guests on that day. So we're very, very excited. Everyone is very busy preparing for that event. So here is a little bit of the satellite events. So some of the photos of the events that we just attended. And also, as you can see here at the bottom about the Sydney World Pride, we will be having a booth there. We are already working closely with Sydney World Pride. So, and then, so this is just an example of what we meant by the tailor, programs with our sponsors. So Colors of Life is a program that Gilead Sciences have one of our key sponsors to work with us. And you can think of it a little bit like a few years back when they have the Humans of New York type sort of campaign. So it's really, it's going to be launched in September. So it's an opportunity where our sponsors, we work very close with them and really help them to kind of tell stories about a lot of underprivileged or the more marginalized groups. And again, amplifying the message of diversity and inclusion, what gay games participation, inclusion, personal best, what it really stands for, in the market. So that's very exciting. And then lastly, you can see David's team is hard at work. We have already produced a lot of the merchandise. It's a lot of them are in production. So, actually, I think that David was just in touch with the FGG board, to send over some of our the T-shirts and caps that have been produced, and we hope, we are hoping that we will build our own e-store so that you can all kind of like visit us and then get all the merchandise available. And I think that is really it for now, and I want to keep it short, not too long and overdue, because that way we can be a little bit more interactive. So I'm just going to stop my presentation here. Thank you, David.
Thanks a lot, Lisa. That was super helpful, and we're really excited to have all of these activities coming through very quickly. Next, I would like to ask Shawn Griffin, who is our Director of Arts and Culture, to give us an update on all of the very exciting related exhibition events and so on that are coming down the pipeline. So over to you, Shawn.
Sure thing. Thanks, David. Hi, everyone. My name is Shawn Griffin. I'm the Director of Arts and Culture for Gay Games. Some of you have been around for a while, may have seen me over the years, and just up to give you guys a little bit of an update on how the Arts and Culture program has been developing over the past few months and what to expect from the program. So So to start off with, we're pretty much keeping with a similar program direction and style. We're still wanting to offer the most robust arts and culture program that Gay Games has ever offered before, with a combination of performances and visual arts components, as well as different cultural activities across the city, and still make use of our locally available talent in order to deliver this. So to start off with is that we're now going to be offering 3 nights of main stage gala performances. This will be 3 nights of curated gala performances from about 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. And each night will have a different theme to demonstrate a different aspect of Hong Kong's regional performances. So we'll have one night that's a bit more focused on international acts, which are all locally based international acts, and any available international acts which are available to come to the city. As well, we're going to be looking at classical acts that will include the Hong Kong Philharmonic and the Hong Kong Ballet, as well as other locally based classical performances and any international acts that are available. And we'll also be focusing one night on Hong Kong cultural performances. So this will be more local celebrities, locally based cultural acts with a strong focus on any performances that are in Cantonese, which is the local language, and also an emphasis on bilingual hosting for that night. So that's going to be 3 nights, and we're going to have sort of more of a mixture of different types of events. If you remember before, we had sort of the events sort of delegated each night to a different performance category. This way we are mixing them more in terms of different thematic elements rather than performance types. In terms of the visual arts and memorial exhibitions, we will be still be hosting the 40 years of Gay Games history. So we're going to be doing an inaugural presentation of that exhibition at the 1-year countdown this year, which is hosted by the Goethe Institute of Hong Kong. And this will showcase a photographic and video overview of the past 10 Gay Games and their impact on the LGBT community as well as the Gay Games community. This exhibition will also be held in 2023 within the Festival Village. We'll also be providing young local LGBT artists an opportunity to showcase their work with a gallery presentation curated by the Hong Kong Arts Collective. And this will be showcasing local LGBT artists whose work exemplifies inclusivity and perseverance, as well as giving a bit of a spotlight to a more underprivileged group of artists in the city. And then also the memorial moment. The memorial moment will be held at either the Festival Village or the Wonderland main stage, and they'll be assisted by a few of our local HIV/AIDS informational groups, which are Hong Kong AIDS Concern, Hong Kong AIDS Foundation, and Gay Harmony Hong Kong. We're also still going to be presenting off-site and partner events with some local bars and clubs. They'll be doing cabaret and drag performances, which will help facilitate some more after-dark drag and cabaret opportunities, such as any sort of like stand-up comedy, poetry, burlesque dancing, drag, those sorts of elements. We'll also be doing nightly junk boat tours, which will be 1-hour tours of Victoria Harbor on junk boats with refreshments. We're also currently working with the Mexican Consulate of Hong Kong for any sort of collaborative cultural performance opportunities that we can host with some of the locally based Mexican performers in Hong Kong. Sort of add a collaborative element with Guadalajara, and then we can also further shape how that collaboration will sort of be seen once we establish more of a grounding with Guadalajara. Just to go over a little bit of what the Wonderland main stage area looks like. This is where the 3 nights of performances with internationally renowned headliners will take place. As you can see here, it's a pretty large area, which will host about 6,000 capacity. There is a permanent main stage, which is at the front end, and then an area where we can potentially host a few booths and stalls back here, potentially, as well as a 2-story VIP booth. This is also a very new venue for Hong Kong. It was supposed to have opened in January of this year, so we will be one of the first large-scale events to utilize this space. It is located on the edge of the West Kowloon Cultural District, which is a non-LCSD venue, a short walk from the MTR station, which is MTR's Kowloon station, There's also a direct shuttle bus from Kowloon Station to the Hong Kong Palace Museum, which is located butting up just to Wonderland. And there will also be access via a water taxi directly from Central Harbourfront, which is currently in development. Just to go over this, and some of you might be wondering, how is this different, or how does this impact anything that I've planned for previously in terms of attending the Hong Kong Gay Games arts and culture performances? Due to border opening uncertainty with Hong Kong, performers will be invited talent only. So invited talent are subjected to different classifications than Gay Games participants, and they will not be need to pay the participation fees unless they also wish to participate in other activities outside of arts and culture performances. We are currently working out a system for those not based in Hong Kong who have pre-registered with arts and culture to be included with Guadalajara's programming should they choose to attend Guadalajara in lieu of Hong Kong. Performances will now entirely be taking place on the Wonderland main stage, and will potentially and most likely be located separate from the finalized festival village. In terms of the Visual Arts Memorial Program, due to logistic issues, the Names Project will no longer be exhibited in Hong Kong. However, we are still working with our local HIV/AIDS organizations to fulfill a memorial moment aspect and to create something that is still very impactful to contribute to the standing of Gay Games history. So just a quick breakdown of where and when everything is happening here, which will be over 10 arts and culture events spanning 9 days. And yes, we're hoping that this, we're going to present still just as robust of a program as before, and hopefully even offer a few additional opportunities in the coming year.
Thanks so much, Shawn. That was super informative. And I'm sure that a lot of people are now very curious about all of these different venues that we're looking at.
Yes.
But it's great to see so much progress for sure. We very active chat window here. We've already got quite a few questions. So I'm just going to run through some of these questions one by one. So the most recent question is actually from Will, who said that he's relocating to London from Shanghai, and they're wondering if they can be a volunteer to contribute to our program. So I would suggest that anybody that wants to volunteer and help us as overseas champions, please feel free to go ahead and send us an email to hello@ggHK2023.com, and then it'll get routed to all of us, all the management team. I can tell you now, Will, that the closest thing that's happening in the UK will be the Commonwealth Games, which is happening in Birmingham at the end of July. And we've actually got a very exciting program there. We have the Pride House for a day. And so we'll be hosting a pop-up booth there. Our team is also preparing some different programs, which I don't think I'll spoil the surprise, but there's a lot of very interesting things going on there. So we would love to have somebody there on site to help us if possible. I don't know if you're there in time for that, but that could be very interesting. So let me move on to some of the other questions. Wayne had a question: which city will host the Rainbow Memorial Flag Run? So I don't know, Lisa, we have that information.
Yeah, I think that's something, I mean, just Shawn, maybe you can address, but my understanding is because now that we are, the Names Project, due to logistical issues, the quilts wouldn't be exhibit here, we'll probably have to work on something, locally, with the team here, with AIDS Concern and other organizations to see how we will do the memorial run. So so I think that's probably something we'll still need to work out with, what may be happening. Yeah.
Yes, I think that that'll be better shaped once Guadalajara has more of a footing on their program as well, and then once we sort of go over all of the logistics behind that, discuss with them how to best handle the memorial flag run.
Yeah, and I think just as a general update and context for everybody, although we've been hard at work with a lot of preparation for the programs and so on, we've not made many announcements because we were, in a sense, also waiting for the Guadalajara license agreement to be signed so that both parties could coordinate and align as well. And so but now that they have signed the license agreement, I think everybody will be much more informed as we begin to make more and more of these announcements about events. And this is kind of related to the next question from Julius as well, which is, will there be outreach and promotional events for Gay Games 11, both for Hong Kong and Latin America through local LGBTQ plus organizations across the region and countries? The answer is yes. We will be in very intense discussions with our counterparts at Guadalajara, and we will have a plan for which of the organizations we'll be looking at working together. I think Lisa just now mentioned that we will have a presence at the Sydney World Pride next year. That's pretty advanced. We've had quite a few meetings with the organizers of Sydney World Pride. At this stage, we can tell people we will definitely be in the parade. We will definitely have a pop-up booth. And I believe, Wayne, we will be looking at participating in the Pride March as well. So there's actually already a lot going on there. And we are also in conversation with different organizations. For example, for Taipei Pride, which is happening in October, there'll also be different Pride events in Thailand and so on. So there will be a lot more going on for sure. If I can move on to some of the other questions. Let's see. Oh, here's an easy one from Doug. How and where will this excellent presentation be shared with those not in attendance today? We're actually recording this, and we will be posting a video of today's coffee talk to our YouTube channel, and we'll be sending out an email to everybody so that those that couldn't attend today will be able to listen in on the recording as well. We have a question from Mauro, which is which country and city will host which events? So I think in Lisa's portion, we've already shared what sports events will be happening in Hong Kong. And I believe that Guadalajara has also shared their event list and their sports list. So I would advise for the latest information, go ahead and refer to both the websites and the Facebook pages of both Guadalajara and GGHK. And that's your best, most updated list. And this was also a question from Rachel as well. We've also received some questions prior to tonight's session. So if Lisa and Shawn, you don't mind, I might want to kind of share some of these questions and direct them to you as well. I think the most common question that a lot of people ask, apart from which sports are being hosted in which city, would be the situation with entry into Hong Kong. Do you have a sense of what the border control situation will be at the end of this year or even next year, for example?
I mean, that's the $1 million questions for sure. But I think right now, we are, the situation actually has been more and more relaxed, as it is. As we can see, it started off 14 and 7, and now there were talks of reducing it to 5, right? Because we just have the new chief executive who just sworn in just 2 days ago, and then he kind of before he's swearing in, he did kind of mention about reducing into 5, maybe with some home quarantine type of arrangements. Obviously, I think we are hopeful. We hope that we'll continue to be more relaxed, because I think time and again he keeps on saying about that Hong Kong needs to not just focusing opening with the border of China, but also really the international opening to the world, right? So that's the balancing act that he has to. But of course, we are cautiously optimistic and continue to move on and just we'll have to see. Yeah.
Thanks, Lisa. We have another question from Rob in Vancouver, and he said that the plans around marketing, culture, history, and so on so far seem focused on Hong Kong. So for those going only to Guadalajara, will the games be showcasing Hong Kong, or will it be showcasing Mexican culture? Lisa, would you like to take this question?
I think I mean, of course, in the different components of it, I guess the games in Hong Kong, what we hope to do is, because the sports component probably will be fairly independent. I mean, there's two unique games, right? But if I'm understanding correctly, you're saying that, how are we going to be connecting as two under the whole umbrella brand of Go Gay Games 11? If that's the case, that's probably more through the arts and culture in the village. That's where we'll introduce the Mexican components. And that's why, as Shawn mentioned, we already reach out to the Mexican consulate to see how we can integrate some Mexican elements into our arts and culture program. And I guess, once Guadalajara probably settles, now that they only signed the agreement, 2-3 weeks ago, I'm sure, once they have settled in and have their team put together, we are also very keen to work with them to see how we can introduce the, elements on the Hong Kong part, into the Mexican side. Yeah. I hope
Thanks,
that's answered
Lisa.
the question. Yeah.
And we have another question from Rachel Derico, and she said that she's seen the list on the website, but the soccer as a sport is listed in both cities, and there's a question how that sport in particular will be dealt with. I know Alan's not on the meeting today, but I don't know, Lisa, you can take this question.
So basically, the sports events are run very independently. So if a particular sport is being held in both cities, obviously you can choose which city you go to, and then you will just compete against those who went to that city, basically. So the scores and the marks will be different, yeah. But I guess the main thing of
Thanks, Lisa. Another question that we get quite commonly is actually the safety of the participants that are coming to Hong Kong. Would you like to offer a bit of an overview of the security for people in Hong Kong?
Yeah, I mean, Hong Kong actually is, I mean, of course, we had that, in the 2019, there was social unrest, and, I'm sure everyone see a lot of on the media. But to be honest, overall, Hong Kong is a very, very safe city. It's one of the safest in the world, to be honest, I imagine. And I think, in terms of being an openly, LGBTQ, person, in Hong Kong, I think, in terms of crimes, hate crimes and that sort of thing, it's very uncommon, to be honest. Generally, violent crimes is just very, very uncommon in Hong Kong. So you feel very, very safe, in terms of, as an openly out, lesbian in Hong Kong, or I'm sure gay people, it's a small and lively city, gay community, but it is for if that's the concern, I've never feel afraid. Let's put it this way. Yeah.
We had another question, which is about travel documents into Hong Kong. So will people require special documents in order for them to be permitted to enter Hong Kong?
Yeah, I think that, I mean, I think generally speaking, I mean, there is the pandemic controls, and then there is the general visa requirements, right? So if you look at the generic, the visa requirements, actually Hong Kong is one of the freest, in terms of the travel. So over 170 countries in the world is visa free. So you basically can come in, as a tourist to come into Hong Kong, freely without any requirements to obtain a visa. Now, of course, with the COVID control, that part, that rules is changing almost all the time. So we're closely monitoring it. And at this point, to be honest, I haven't really been following up very, very close, because I haven't caught up myself for a while. But I would imagine you probably need to do some, at this point, my understanding, you probably have to have some PCR tests or RT tests, that kind of thing. And but I think closer to the time, when we actually open registration, and we'll continue to monitor the situation and obviously keep everyone up to date, so they have the right information and make sure they have the other relevant records if needed.
We had a related question from Wayne as well, which is regarding the insurance for the entire event for participants, and I guess both for the security at the events as well as for protection of the financial monies and so on. Lisa, do you want to talk a little bit about the insurance, or will there be insurance, for example, for the gay games?
Yeah, of course. We are actually talking to a number of insurers to make sure we obtain the event, general liability insurance, just like any other event organizer. Yeah. So that's obviously something in the works. Yeah. Now, of course, in terms of the individual, travel insurance, that sort of thing, that's probably something we will encourage all participants to obtain their own individual travel insurance. And I'm sure, like, once we actually open for registration, we probably will have, maybe we can provide a little bit more information, on appropriate, insurer or the medical facilities in Hong Kong, that sort of thing, as needed, if there's that need. Yeah.
Thanks, Lisa. The next one is an easy one from Andy. Is this the first time the gay games will be hosted in 2 different countries at the same time?
I think so. I think so. I think it'll be fun. We'll really make history.
Is it 2 countries as well as 2 continents? Is that true, Lisa?
I think so. I think that it's never been held in Central America. Basically, that's why it's never been held in Latin America and Central America. That's what I was told. So that was why it's so exciting, because both Asia and in Central America and Latin America, it has never been taken place. So it is quite interesting, I think, for the 40-year history. 2 largest continents in the world. One of the 2 largest, I would say.
Yeah. Thanks, Lisa. The next question is from Rick, and he's asking, will Guadalajara have a separate website and event briefings? Do we know how people can register for their email updates? As far as I know, they have already launched their website, and I don't know the website address offhand, but we can send that back out to everybody afterwards. But that will be the one-stop information hub for everything related to the Guadalajara events. And as Lisa mentioned, our management teams are in close contact and will be making announcements soon about what are some of the joint efforts or joint programs that we will potentially launch. So everybody watch this space. And yeah, I know there's a website because I've been to the website. I just don't know the address off the top of my head. But we can certainly let everybody know when we send out the email to link to the recording as well. So are there any, that's an interesting question from Shep. Why are the gay games being held in 2 cities? Lisa, you want to take this one?
Well, I mean, actually, I think if all remember the announcement that it was made in February, at that time, Hong Kong was just hitting with the 5th wave. And, with the COVID situation, it was it was quite difficult for us actually at that time. We weren't quite sure, whether Hong Kong will be, be open for international travelers to come in, and so at that time, actually, we had a very, very, good discussion with the FGG. We said, look, on one hand, we really appreciate that, the gay games every 4 years, we push it back for a year because of COVID. And people are really looking for it, right? All your members, FGG members, are really looking forward to actually having a physical location where you can have that, have the championship, have the games, right? So that is, obviously one key objective and concern, consideration for FGG. But at the same time, we, here in Hong Kong since 2016, 2017, since we won the games, we have over 200 volunteers, many, many volunteers actually, working for the last 5-6 years. Really, and a lot of people in Asia, really hoping and looking forward to the games in Hong Kong taking place first time in Asia, right? So it's these 2, both important considerations. So that's how, in our very creative moment, we came with the idea, why don't we have a co-host? This way, regardless of what is the situation in Hong Kong, you will always have a place, a physical location where all the members of Federation of Gay Games can go and attend and have a wonderful tournament if Hong Kong's border is not open. But if it is open, then it's even bigger and better, right? 1 + 1 can be 3. It'd be really, really wonderful event. And so that's how that became this new testing ground. It'll be interesting, very fun.
We've also, thanks, Lisa. We've also received some questions, especially since the last time we sent out the newsletter, from people who were perhaps a bit concerned about the geopolitical comments that are in mainstream media all the time. We've had people ask us, oh, by coming to the gay games in Hong Kong, are we making a political statement either in support or against any governments or any administrations? Lisa, do you have a point of view around that?
Well, I mean, I think actually there's thanks for the question. Actually, I guess firstly we have to say that it is precisely because I think unlike maybe European countries or in America, like in Asia or in Hong Kong, perhaps the LGBTQ community, in terms of the rights and advancements are not as progressive, as in other in the Western countries, right? And so that's precisely the reason why we are really wanting to bring the games in Hong Kong, and then for Asia, other parts of Asia, some of the places not even it's even criminalized, right? So I think that's why I really want to make sure we have this event, and then I think in terms of the community here, in Hong Kong, we were very grateful and happy, for FGG's continued support, for the community here. The organizing committee here, we have over 200 people, but we are all volunteers. There's no paid staff. We are really supported by the generous donations of private individuals and corporate sponsors. So this is really a community grassroots events from the ground up. By coming to Gay Games in Hong Kong, you are actually supporting the community, LGBTQ community in Hong Kong. It's not really about any political statement. It's really about standing by alongside, all your brothers and sisters, LGBTQ brothers and sisters in Hong Kong, in Asia. That's how I would see it.
Thank you, Lisa. And I just want to say that that reflects the feelings of a lot of our volunteers as well. All of us are volunteers, and we've contributed countless hours over the last few years to making the Gay Games in Hong Kong a very successful event. And it is extremely important to us that people understand that by coming to Hong Kong, you are supporting not just the Gay Games and all of us volunteers, but you're also supporting the ideals on which the games are based. And you're also helping to shine a light on Hong Kong, because as we all know, the fight for equal rights is a constant battle, and even settled law can be reversed. We were just talking about that earlier today. And so it is a battle that is truly global, and every place, every city in the world should be helping each other and displaying a sense of unity as well. And that's why also, our tagline is unity in diversity, because it's really important to all of us here in Hong Kong and in Asia that people come and be a part of this movement for us and show your support. And it is very clear, and we need everyone to truly understand that by coming to Hong Kong, you're not supporting a government, you're not making a political statement. What you are doing is supporting us, all of us here at Gay Games. So that's very important. We have a question around border entry. So this was from Julius again. As part of travels to Hong Kong at border security, which we call immigration, do we need to reveal that entry is for Gay Games Hong Kong? And would the border agents assume the traveler would be LGBTQ and be rejected entry? This is an easy one. Lisa, do you want to take this one?
I don't think so. Yeah. I mean, of course, you like I was saying earlier, Hong Kong is a visa free, like over 170 countries are visa free. So that actually helps a lot, right, in terms of the travel arrangement. But even if you were to say that you are coming to an LGBTQ conference, I would be very, very surprised if you were denied entry because of that.
We've actually got a lot of support from different Hong Kong government departments. Yes. Lisa herself has personally been involved in many of these meetings, and I've sat in on a few as well, whether it's with the tourism board, Invest Hong Kong, as well as a few other unnamed government departments that have been fairly involved and supportive. And I think it's important for people to understand that while Hong Kong, like certain other places in Asia, may not be as advanced as the West in terms of equal legal rights, for LGBTQ people, Hong Kong is one of the safest places in the world. Gay bashing is unheard of here. We have almost zero hate crime. I even want to say zero hate crime, but I don't want to be that absolute. But Hong Kong is extremely safe. You can be holding hands in public with no repercussions whatsoever. And even just from a general perspective, as a security location, Hong Kong is one of the safest cities in the world, one of the lowest crime rates. For those of us that live here, we commonly will be out and about at 2 a.m. in the morning in any part of the city, and we will feel safe. There's very little petty crime. Muggings are extremely uncommon. And so it is a very, very safe place, contrary to what a lot of people think. But yes, Hong Kong is a very safe and stable place. So I think that's it, if there are no more questions. But as we said at the top of the meeting, if anybody has any questions, feel free to send them to any of us. I've just pasted our email addresses in the chat window. If you need to email Lisa, Shawn, or myself. By the way, I head up marketing and PR. So if you have any marketing related questions, please feel free to direct them to me. And we will be holding these coffee talks on a very regular basis from now on. So at any point in time, if you have a question for us, feel free to send them to any of us, and we will make sure to answer them either in the next coffee talk or in any of the monthly newsletters that we send out to everybody. And with that, I'm going to say a warm thank you to Shawn and Lisa for taking the time today to be on the panel for the coffee talk. And we thank everybody that's attended. And we love all the questions. Please keep them coming. We love to answer questions and share new information as well.
Yeah. I'll see you in Hong Kong next year.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.